Hello and welcome back. In this session, we're going to talk about list views, what they are, what they do, and how you can make the most out of them. So, what are list views? Well, list views are just the list that you can see for Salesforce objects. They can be incredibly powerful when it comes to creating a user experience that your users will love. List views are available for most objects, and with list views, you can customize them using filters. Fields can be added and removed and reordered for the columns. And there's actually three variations of list views. You have list views, split views, and Kanban views. So let's head into Salesforce and take a closer look. And we're going to start with leads. So here we are in leads. So the first thing to note here is that users will always be taken to their pinned list. So this is what you can see here. This recently viewed list has been pinned. Users can easily change their pinned list just by going to whichever list view they want. So for example, we'll go to all open leads and then they just click the pin and that'll now pin this list view. So what that means is if we was to navigate somewhere else, such as say accounts, for example, and then we head back to leads, we're going to revisit the all open leads list view. We're going to see the all open leads list view because that's the one that we pinned. What you can also do is use filters to customize this view so you only see the records that you want to see. So if we open the filter by clicking here, you'll be able to see that the filter applied to this list view is that it shouldn't contain any leads where the lead status is closed. Now, a really important note here is that users will only be able to see records that they have access to, and the records that users have access to is defined by the security and sharing settings of your org, which is part of the following section. So let's just close that list view filter there. And what you can also do here is actually customize these columns. So to do that, just hit the gear icon and just hit select fields to display. From here, you could quite easily customize what fields are going to be used as columns. So for example, we can get rid of the unread by owner. So you can see we have unread by owner there. We're going to get rid of that. And we could add whatever we want in there as well. So for example, let's put industry in. So we now have industry. We can also control the order of them as well. So if we select the field that we want and we just move that all the way up, and let's say we put it to just below company and we hit save, what you'll see now is that that industry field, which we've just put as the column and just moved up, we can actually see that it's changed our list view to match that. Now, regarding the fields that users can see in the list view, they too are defined by the security and sharing settings, as well as the field level security and page layouts. So let's talk about the list view controls. Well, if we hit the gear icon, we can see the list view controls here. We have options such as creating new list views, renaming them, we can clone them, we can set the sharing settings, edit the filters, which again you can do by clicking that filter icon there. We can select fields to display, which allows us to control the columns. We can delete list views, and we can also reset column widths if we make a bit of a hash when we're moving them around and changing the size of them. So let's take a closer look at list filters themselves. So if we hit that edit list filters there, you can see we could also open it by pressing that. And what we can do is we can actually add and remove filters. So if we want to add a filter, we just click add filter. We can then specify the field that we want it to be. So what we'll go to is we'll go to state as a nice example. So we select the field state, which is what we want to use for the filter, and then we can set what it's equal to. So for this example, let's just have a look and say that we only want to see any open leads which are where the state is equal to CA, to California. So we'll just hit that and we'll hit done. And we've now got that ready to go. What you can also do is add filter logic. So if you start building really complex list views and you need to kind of mess around with the filter logic to make it a bit more refined, you can do that through using this button here. But we're just going to remove that and we're just going to save. And then as you can see, once we've saved that filter, we've now filtered the list view to only include open leads where the state equals CA. But let's get rid of that now. So we just click the X and we just click save. What we also have here is the display as. So we have table, Kanban, and split view. And we're going to look at these shortly, but for now, we're just going to kind of ignore that for now. We can also refresh our list view by just hitting the refresh button. We can also edit the records in our list view. So we can use the pencil icon there, or what we can do, if we just click next to them and we just click the pencil icon, you can see that we could quite easily change them. So we'll just change Betty Blur and we'll say that her industry is banking. So we can do that. Now, in order to do this, you must have inline editing enabled in your user interface settings, which we covered in an earlier session. Another key thing to be aware of here is that if you have multiple record types, then you need to filter the list view to only one record type in order to edit them. And the best thing about inline editing is that it allows you to edit more than one record at a time. So let's have a look, and let's say that we want Violet, Tom, Shelley, and Sandra. We want to change their record, and we want to set their industry as, let's set it as, say, communications. What we can do is if we check this box here and we hit apply, we can actually change all of those records in one go. Now, it's worth noting here as well that there is a limit of 200 records to be updated at one time using this method. But if we hit save, you'll see that they've now been changed as well. You can also add and customize charts to list views as well. So we're going to cover charts in greater detail during a later section of the course, but just know that you can add them here. So to do that, we'll just close the filter and we'll just open the chart button there. And you can see that we have reports that we already have there, so reports with charts, and we can just select them and you can see we've got a chart now for our open leads. What we can do is we can hit the gear icon, and from here we can actually change how these display. So we can see that at the moment we're pulling the chart from the leads by lead source report, and we've now got it set up just like this. If we wanted to change it, we could change it to a horizontal bar chart, so we could do that, or we could revert it back to a donut chart as well. What we have at the top here are list view actions, and these vary depending on the object that you're on. So for leads, we have new, import, add to campaign, change status, change owner, and we also have a couple more as well. So that's that printable view, which again, you can enable by using the user interface settings that we covered earlier on. Now, to show how this changes, if we head across to accounts, what you'll see is that we have new and import as the actions. And if we head to opportunities, we just have new. So now let's talk about the three types of list views that you can have. So what we're going to do first is we're going to change our opportunities to all opportunities. So we're looking at the all opportunities list view, and I'm just going to pin this as well. What we can do then is head across to the display as, and we can change this to split view. So I'm going to cover split view first before we cover Kanban. And if we open up a split view, you can see that all we have is essentially a split view between the actual list and then the record itself. So this enables users to quickly look and review any kind of records that are part of their list view. You can use this little button here to kind of get rid of the split view and bring it back out. And it just, again, gives you a nice, easy way for users to kind of just go through any records that are part of their list view. Now, let's have a look at Kanban settings. So if we click the display as and we hit the Kanban, now from a Kanban view, you can easily drag and drop records. So you can easily change record values just by moving them around as well, just like that. So again, that's a nice and easy way for you to be able to kind of control records as well. You can see we've got a field that's being summarized at the top here. So that's going to be the amount because it's the opportunity object that we're on. And right at the top here in the blue, what we can see here is the field that is being used to actually group the records. So to change the settings of Kanban, all you need to do is hit the gear icon here and just go down to Kanban settings. You can then choose what field is going to be summarized. So that's what you're seeing here in these green numbers. And you can also choose what the records are going to be grouped by. So we've got stage, but again, you could change whatever you want that to be. Now, when we talk about these summarization fields here, all that's actually doing is just rolling up the amounts from these records up there. So if we just go back to the Kanban settings, we're actually summarizing the amount. So the value you're seeing there is the amount, and then it's just rolling them up, just adding them all up, and then just showing them in green at the top of the list. So let's go and take a look at a business use case so we can add more context and more understanding to list views. So Dave at Dave J. Massey would like to create a list view for his high value opportunities, just so that he can access them easily and get a quick view of their progress. So we'll head back to Salesforce. What we're going to do is we're going to click a new at list view. For the name, we're just going to put in as high value ops. We'll click the list API name just so it automatically populates that. Then we're going to specify who can see this list view. So by default, we can set it so only I can see this list view. So whoever is creating the list view, they're the only person that can see it. We could set it so that all users can see the list view, so everybody has access to it. Or we can use the share list view with groups of users. And if we do that, we could specify the roles. The roles are subordinates, or if we actually had any public groups, we could also select the public group that should be able to see them. So if you want to create a list view that is specifically for a team that deals with high value opportunities, you could create a public group for high value team, and then you could just specify that group as who should be able to see this list view. But for now, we're going to set it as all users can see the list view, and we'll just hit save. So as you can see, this is the default for our high value opportunities. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a couple of filters to this. So first of all, the first filter that I want is that all the opportunities have to be open. So we're going to go to closed, and we're going to set that closed equals false. So it's going to only show records where they are not closed. Then for the next filter, we're going to add a filter based on the amount, and we're going to say that high value opportunities is anything above 150,000. So we'll click add filter. We're going to go to amount. Then for the operator, we're going to set that it's greater than or equal to 150,000. And we'll just hit done. Then we can hit save. And you'll see that we now have our filter in place, which is just giving us a list view for high value opportunities. That's any opportunity which is open and is greater, the amount is greater than £150,000. So let's have a look at a quick summary of list views. List views are a really powerful way for you to provide your users with a more streamlined user interface that is tailored towards them. You can customize list views, you could create new list views, you can filter records through them, you can also enable inline editing so users can edit them quickly, you can add charts, you can specify the sharing settings, and you have 3 options for list views. You have the standard list view, the split view, and the Kanban view.